These two buttons both add panels. The only difference is the initial settings for their appearance. So they're basically adding the same object. This one's set up more for just adding plain text. So I'm going to click this. Now I have a panel I can write some text in. I click off and just have a plain piece of text. Whereas this one, if I click this Add Insert panel, it will come with a border. I can still add text. It has a border. Now let's say we wanted to change the properties of these panels. I'm going to change the background of this and go to Appearance, and I would choose Background. Can't see all of this on this screen. And I'm going to set the background to a kind of light muddy orange. This one, and now I'm going to change the border thickness to 10, which is crazy thick. Press Enter. And I'm going to change the border color to this. Isn't that beautiful? Now here's the thing, it will remember the settings, so when you next come to add this panel, it will assume you want it similar till you change those settings to something else. So click here, all set up the same. However, if we click this one, just the plain old text, it's back to plain. Now in theory, we can change the settings of this to look like this. I'm going to change the border to free, and now it has a border just like this one. And we can make them look exactly the same. Now when I click a new one of these, it will come with a blue border now. Now these panels, I'm just going to delete that a second. You can add things into the panels such as shapes, or even other panels. So I could take this panel and I could add it into this panel. So now when I move this panel around, this smaller panel is part of it. I could draw inside it. And now if I select this, I'm still in drawer mode, I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo those two, and I'm going to press Enter to get out of drawer mode. I can now select this, and everything that's in the panel is moving around. And I could, in theory, put this panel inside another panel. There. Now notice the background of this panel is white. If we wanted it to adopt the background color of the panel I'm just putting it in, we'd go to Background, and we would change the opacity. We'd make it much more see-through. So change the opacity to 0. So here you can see the lines behind the sample. Actually, I change the opacity to 1. I'm going to change the opacity to 30, so it's semi-transparent. So now you can see, you can mostly see what's going on behind it. Wherever I put this, it's see-through. And we can, of course, change the shape and size of the panel by doing that. And this, we can write text in this panel. This line will actually grab on to the text in the panel. So I think it's probably going to be grabbing onto about that F. It comes from the top. So if I press Enter now, that line will follow this letter, or whichever letters it's grabbed onto, it will follow. And if I wish to delete this panel, cross it off here. Control Z brings it back. The main document is actually just a panel. So these panels are all panels in the main document. The only difference is, well, there's a few differences. One of the differences, you can't delete this one. You're forced to keep it. I almost forgot to show you the duplicating panels capability. We have a panel, I'm going to write some text in it, and I'm going to put a little squiggle in it. a big squiggle apparently. We can obviously duplicate this by pressing Control and then V when it's selected, or we can hold down Control when we move it and we get a duplicate. Now let's say I add another panel and I put both of these panels in there. I change this thickness to something less thick. Appearance thickness 5. And I'm going to connect these both up with a line that will be black. I could then duplicate the whole panel. Again, I just press Control down as I moved it. I could put them into a panel. See, it's like the opposite of the Russian doll thing. I'm not sure where I'm going with that. Both in a panel. Make it wider so it actually fits them all. I think I'll add a splash in just to give it a splash of colour. I'll do. And now I'm going to duplicate this panel and then I will stop, but you get the message. You can duplicate stuff. There.